are you guys in for a treat? 13 shows, 12 months. Today I'm gonna be doing a concert recap for the year of 2022. I went to at least 13 shows, not including the more local ones. It was a very chaotic and exciting year. We're gonna go chronologically. I'm gonna show you what I wore to the concert. I'm gonna show you footage from the concert. I'm gonna give you the highlights and the lowlights of the concert. I'm gonna rate the concerts out of 5. I'm basically giving you all the tea. I even have direct quotes from my diaries. Look at all of these sticky notes. So if you're ready, sit down, strap in, let's get started. The first concert that I went to this year was for Joywave back in March. Some of my highlights for this show were, number 1, stage design. I felt like for such a small stage, it was cool that they were able to come up with such a solid concept. They had like a car wash theme going on. So they had like the back half of a car in the center of the stage with a screen above it, I believe. They also had like little car wash spinny things. They had a license plate on the car that said Joywave, and they literally had one for every state that they were traveling in. They all wore, literally, what are those called? Jumpsuits? As if they worked at a car wash and they each had their names on it. Other things that were cool about this concert. The band's personality. Daniel is the lead singer of Joywave and he's hilarious. They handed out free stickers at the beginning of the show. I received a guitar pick. They were also recording for their live album, and I met the opening band Almost Monday. They were all wearing like double XL Joywave shirts and they were in their underwear. Literally loved them. Overall, a great experience. I'm gonna give this concert 4 stars out of 5. Next, I got to see a bucket list concert of mine. Tyler, the Creator, on the Call Me If You Get Lost tour. He was touring with Kali Uchis, Vince Staples, and Tizo Touchdown. Amazing stage design. It was a huge house. Then he has a boat that travels through a strip in the audience to a stage in the center of the arena, which was covered in grass to mimic the Flower Boy album. And the way the set list worked, he started with the Call Me If You Get Lost songs, and then he traveled on the boat to the Flower Boy stage where he did songs off of Flower Boy, and then also did like a medley of even older songs, and then traveled back to the main stage. I thought it was genius. The way the stages worked and the way that the set list corresponded with the different stages, I just thought it was very clever. The special effects. There were so many fire displays during the show. Like there were at least like 4 different types of fire. And I can't remember what all of them were. I remember one of them, he had sort of like fireworks like sprinkling down from the top. And then he had like bursts of flames that popped up. I said, who that boy? Wait. The only negative for this show was the length of it. As I mentioned, he had 3 openers. We were there for so long. It just literally felt like it went on forever. And don't get me wrong, like Kali Uchis, Vince Staples, they sounded great. Tizo Touchdown, I was not personally a fan. He was the one who went first when I got there, and it bored. Okay, this is gonna sound really mean, but like this video is practically a video diary for me to remember the shows. So me and my brother were laughing out loud during Tizo Touchdown's performance. It borderline looked like a parody of something. Very strange performance. I don't remember the details. But funnily enough, other people seem to really be enjoying it. So I don't know, maybe he just has a really strong fan base. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Those were the only negatives. I want to give it 5 stars, but the length of the show was so absurd. I'll give it 4.5 stars out of 5, taking off the half point for the ridiculous length of the show. Next, I saw John Mayer back in April. I don't have a whole lot to say about this show other than the fact that I felt honored to have been able to see John Mayer and his talent. The guitar solos insane. I mean, exactly what you would expect. The visuals for the show also really stood out to me. Throughout the whole show, if I remember correctly, it was very like abstract designs on the screen behind him. This one I did see at the Toyota Center and had nosebleed seats. And at the John Mayer concert, I was in fact sitting pretty much the entire show because everyone in our section was sitting until the very end. So based on my experience compared to the other concerts, if I had to rank them, this one would be lower because it was so chill. And I kind of prefer the rock shows. I had to see him though at some point in my life. He was another bucket list concert for me. I feel like I would give my experience like 3.5 stars out of 5. Next, we had Omar Apollo back in May. I saw him at White Oak Music Hall in Houston. This one, easily top 3 concerts of the year for me. His personality, he's so funny. And I did not know him before I went to this show. I went with my friend Kaya, who's a huge fan. And as you'll see shortly, I ended up seeing him a second time later in the year because now I love him so much. I wrote in my diary, I've never seen an artist be so chill with his audience before, treating us like we were just friends. Another thing that stood out to me about this show were simply the vibes, because this show was on Omar's 25th birthday. At the beginning of the show, his friends surprised him with a stripper and balloons, and everyone came out on stage. And he did not know that that was happening. We did watch him get a lap dance on stage. At the end of the show, he was like, I'm not done partying yet. Play Tamagotchi again. It was literally one of the most fun concerts I've ever been to in my life, and this is for an artist I didn't even know at the time. I have to give that concert 5 stars. The next concert I went to was for 5 Seconds of Summer in June. Pale Waves opened up for them, and this was at the Woodlands Pavilion in Houston, which is an outdoor venue. This is a tough one because Ashton Irwin, the drummer of the show, had some semblance of like a heat stroke during the show because it was like over 100 degrees. And he's intensely drumming the whole time. And they had to end the show really early, which was obviously a huge deal. Everyone was super worried for Ashton, and obviously all of the fans were extremely disappointed. It's not how I think anyone would have wanted the night to play out. Quick interjection, the way I'm telling this story makes it sound like we knew that it was Ashton having a heat stroke during the concert. But in reality, they didn't tell us any of that until after the show ended. Literally, the concert just stopped halfway through and nobody knew why. They said, we're taking a break, and they came out and said, go home. But people saw ambulances and stuff, so we assumed that maybe like some essential part of the tour, like something happened to somebody. It probably had to do with the heat maybe. But I think nobody expected it to be like someone actually in the band. I mean, I didn't think so. So yeah, we didn't know any of that until after the fact. So I think everyone was just like really disappointed. But then after the fact, we were like worried, and then we were just glad he was okay, but still like that absolutely sucked for everyone involved. Yeah. According to my diary, the vibes leaving that venue that night were horrible. Just thousands of people leaving the venue, never to see the rest of the show. They did not reschedule the show, they refunded us. So from the part of the show I did get to see, I would say one of the main positives was the crowd. Five Sauce, they have a cult following, man. The energy in that venue was insane. Everyone was so excited for the show. People were screaming so loud. You could tell that they put a lot of effort into using the lighting and the visuals on the screens to create a different vibe for each song. I remember during their song Complete Mess, it looked like a sunset. And I just remember all the crowd being lit up with the orange and the pink and just thinking, oh, I'll remember this visual forever. Like, it was so beautiful. They also sounded amazing and exactly like the recordings. It was actually kind of trippy. From what I saw of the show, I'll give it a 4.5 stars out of 5. Next we have Coin with the opener Black Star Kids. This was back in August. Super cool. They have a really surreal aesthetic going on with their new album Uncanny Valley, and the stage design definitely matched that. It was like a field with like a big ladybug, and they sounded great. The vibes at that show were great. I wrote that seeing Chase sing his own songs changed my views of the songs and put a person to the lyrics, emotions, stories, hope, and pain behind them. I continue to write that the only bad thing was the opener. And the funny thing is that after the show, one of the opener's rappers walked by us in the merch line, and it was like something took over me. And I don't even know who said this. And I just went, hey, you were awesome tonight. Am I a liar? I definitely did not get the opener, Black Star Kids. A bunch of people seem to like their music and like their performance, but Black Star Kids is basically like, I think it's like 2 people on instruments and then like 3 people kind of rapping. And the way they were set up on stage was like a line of like 5 people. And it was visually awkward and kind of always felt like there were too many people on stage, because if you weren't like actively the one rapping, then you were just kind of up there in a line. And most of their songs did not even have a similar style to Coin, so I was super confused like why they were opening for them. But that was probably like my least favorite opener I saw this year. So yeah, overall this show just made me so happy. I think I'm gonna give it 4 stars out of 5. Next, we have Omar Apollo round 2. This was in October at 713 Music Hall in Houston. Opening up this entry with Omar Apollo is so slay. That is the only word for it. And I couldn't put it better myself, even now. Plus his dancing, spin that guitar, kick Omar. The major L for the show would be the venue. I've only seen 2 shows at this new venue in Houston, and both times I struggled seeing the stage. I just feel like the stage is low. It's basically a huge standing room only venue. Definitely the biggest standing room only venue in Houston, I think. I definitely remember struggling to see during that show and just feeling kind of bummed that I didn't know like a lot of the songs. I think I'd been focused on learning the new album, and he played a lot of old songs on this particular tour. So I was kind of bummed that I was less prepared than I would have liked. I'm gonna give that show 3.5 stars. Next, we've reached my favorite concert of the year. This was Dayglow at House of Blues, Houston. This entry opened up with Saturday night. I had the best night of my life and I never want to forget it. This was largely my favorite concert of the year because of my experience at it, but basically I went by myself. I got there 3 hours before the show started, was able to be 3 people back in the audience, center stage. I wrote here in my diary, I had such an uninterrupted view of him singing and I didn't come with anyone, so I had nowhere else to look. Because it felt like it was just me and the stage, I got really into the show and cried like most of the show. He had some cool, like trippy visuals, very colorful visuals. All of his bandmates were wearing like white jumpsuits. That would be the second time that I saw something like that this year. And of course, the energy is amazing at all of his shows because his music is so positive and upbeat and just like has good vibes. I think that's how I would summarize the actual show. I was just really emotional, invested, and I was like literally crying. It would have been my favorite show of the year regardless of whether or not I'd met him after the show. But after the show, I'm waiting in the merch line, dead last in line. I get to the front, pulling out my wallet, about to buy a poster, and I hear Shelby coming from behind me. I'm thinking, oh, it's probably like one of my high school friends or something since I'm back in Houston. I turn around, nope. It is, in fact, Colin, the guitarist from Dayglow. He also makes solo music, and I've made like a few videos about him on my channel, along with a ton of videos about Dayglow. He goes, hey, just want to let you know I see your videos. I really appreciate all the support. I'm literally staring at him like he grew a 3rd head. He was so nice. And the fact that he like went out of his way to say anything to me in the first place, it was just very special. And he was literally the first person to ever recognize me from my YouTube channel. So, I mean, I would remember that regardless for the rest of my life. But the fact that it was Colin who recognized me, it was just so nice. So we just had like a brief conversation. And then he kind of walked away and was just like standing in front of the stage. And then I went back up and was like, can we take a picture? Like while I have you here? That quite literally made my life. I mean, like for sure one of the best moments of this entire year. And then of course, to make it even better, I waited outside the tour bus for maybe 10 minutes, not long at all, before Dayglow came out, Sloan. I got to talk to him. This isn't the first time I've met him, but it's the first time I've talked to him in years. And we had a little combo. I was kind of just like making comments about the tour and how it's just crazy to see how far he's come, because the first time I saw him in Houston, he was literally playing at a tiny bar with like maybe 50 people there. And now he's playing at the freaking House of Blues with like hundreds of people. And then he was like, yeah, and I really appreciate all the videos and stuff. Or he said, I really appreciate the support, all the videos and stuff. That's a direct quote. Oh, and then I brought my old Harmony House poster from the Harmony House tour and got him to sign it. So Dayglow is my favorite artist, so I mean, I don't even think I need to explain why that was like one of the best nights ever. I would say out of 5 stars, I'm gonna give that one a 5.5. Next, we have Joe P at Cactus Music, which is a record store in Houston. I saw him in November, and he basically did like a free show slash like meet and greet slash signing for his new vinyl that has come out. Probably one of the best experiences I've ever had meeting an artist. Literally so nice. Like just a good listener, conversationalist, just so friendly, makes you feel like he wants to talk to you. Just for sure, one of the best experiences I've had meeting an artist. He also sounded amazing during the few songs that he did perform, literally perfect. He has my favorite voice, like straight up, of all the artists that I listen to. In your bed, I'll just forget I'm all alone. I bought his vinyl and his CD, got him to sign both. I mean, I feel like for what it was, like it couldn't have really gone better. I'm gonna give it 5 stars. I personally cannot even believe this video is still going on, but we now have the Rex at Warehouse Live in Houston back in November. The Rex are an alternative band, and they make some pretty like rock music. So naturally, one of the main things that stood out to me about this show was just the energy and, oh my gosh, the crowd. One of the best crowds I've ever been with at a show. There was a circle pit, the lead singer Nick crowd surfed, and Nick Anderson even got into the audience at one point and sang with us. I had so much fun. It was so cathartic, screaming everything out. The only thing that was a negative for me was that they were touring their new album Sonder, but I felt like they didn't perform a lot of the songs off of Sonder. Regardless, I will end this with a quote that says, okay, well, the Rex ended up being one of the best concerts ever. Literally iconic and one of my top 3 favorite shows of the year. 4.5 stars out of 5. We are nearing the end, thank God. And the next show I have for you is the 1975 back in November. Once again, at my least favorite music venue, 713 Music Hall in Houston. Ironically, Black Star Kids did open up for the 1975. That's right, I somehow managed to see Black Star Kids twice this year. I digress. The stage design was insane. Second show of the year that had like a house, but this time it was the inside of a house. So many cool special effects. He was performing on the roof of the house at one point. Did not see that one coming. Crawled through a TV on stage. Disappeared. Did not see that one coming at all. I remember he walked through a door in the middle of the stage and the door suddenly is lit up and just shining a bright light at him. Looks like some weird like scene from a sci-fi movie or something. They had a street light with like a big switch on it, and he goes and he switches the thing and all the lights go off and he walks off stage, and that's how it ended. Just really cool. Keeps you on your toes the whole time. You could tell they put a lot of effort into the planning of details like this within the show. Yeah, they sounded amazing. Some of their songs are just like some of my favorite songs ever, and they put on an amazing show. Negative about the set. The entire band is on like a raised part of the set in the back. Meanwhile, the lead singer is on the lower part in the front. And as you recall, I really struggle singing at 713 Music Hall. And he also happened to perform very low to the ground for whatever reason. Literally just kneeling on the floor the whole time, laying on the floor, laying on the couch. sitting down at the piano, naturally. Just could not see the entire show. People in front of me were blocking me. Very, very disappointing because the 1975 was another bucket list show for me, if not my #1 bucket list show. The only one that I actually have written down on the list on my phone that says bucket list shows. Also, that this show kind of fell in the midst of like a very quick paced part of my concert bender because I went to 3 shows in November. So I was kind of just exhausted at it. It was on a Wednesday night. It was just like unfortunate how my experience played out, I would say, because I was so excited for it. Unfortunately, I'm gonna give my experience maybe like a 3.5 stars out of 5. Especially because I was forced to watch the Black Star Kids again. I'm sorry. Luckily, I would say the next show really made up for the 1975 one going worse than planned because the next show went better than planned. The next show was for the band Feng Suave, whose shirt I'm wearing right now. I saw them in November at Empire Garage in Austin. I think it was just extra special and felt really significant because Feng Suave had never toured in the US before, and they literally came from the other side of the world, yet the lead singer was standing 6 feet in front of me. I was so happy. I was literally just smiling at him, beaming for every song the entire show. I don't know how else to describe it. Everyone was just vibing. I just really surprised myself with how special I felt the show was. Not only that, but I got to meet the band after the show. I mean, I'm gonna give this show 4.5 stars out of 5. And then finally, we make it to the last show of the year. This was Dayglow round 2 with Colin's Music, the guy that I met, and TC Superstar at Stubbs in Austin. It was the last show of his tour. He's from Austin, so it was his homecoming show. I had no need to record or anything. I'd already seen him once before, so I literally could just sit there and take it in and watch the show. I wrote in my diary, it was so cool to see Colin perform. It was his debut performance as a solo artist, and I felt like I could watch Dayglow with a much clearer mind this time. I was much less like emotional and excited and stuff to where I couldn't think straight because I'd already seen him before. So about halfway through the concert, I decided to treat the show as a celebration of 2022 and making it to my last concert of the year. I sang my heart out, danced, teared up during Can You Call Me Tonight, drove away with my friend Emily, blasting some local Houston music as we left Austin. Haven't been sad since. Felt relieved, inspired, and excited for 2023. That's the best way to put it. The only difference with this show is that he had 2 openers this time instead of 1, and they were different openers than the time I saw him before. And it was really, really a long show, once again. People around me were actually like complaining. Colin was amazing. We were all very excited for him. But then when TC Superstar came on and their set just kind of like kept going, it was like, okay. I don't remember when Dayglow came on, but I feel like we were there for just so long before he came on. Like, mind you, me and Emily did get to the show 2 hours before doors open because we wanted/needed to be in the front, obviously. But still, I think moral of the story, don't have more than 1 opener. Regardless, I had an excellent time, and I'm gonna give that show 4.5 stars out of 5. If I had to rank my shows, I would put #1, Dayglow in Houston. I would say #2, Tyler the Creator. #3, The Reps. Somewhere around there, Omar Apollo, the first time. Maybe he's tied with The Reps. #4, Feng Suave. #5, Joe P. I'm out of here, guys. Thank you all for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe if you're not already. I wish you many, many concerts in the future. Bye-bye.